Let's learn something really quick.
If you got the time, absolutely. And you got the discipline, there's no question about it.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great practice to put into your everyday life, you guys.
You generally regret the things you don't do, not the things you did do. Let me say it that way.
Mic drop. This was just awesome. I love meeting my guests in person, and it's a whole nother animal, and the energy is just electric. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free. To live your best life, live label free. And I'm back with our resident relationship wizard, Fred Talisman. If you don't know, now you know. He's got 25 years experience helping thousands of relationships, helping and fixing and repairing relationships in his wheelhouse. So, Fred, welcome back. Today, I love the subject that we're talking about, how to pick the right help for your relationship. I think that's a big one. Why is it important for someone to pick the right help for their relationship?
Well, most people only look for help for the relationship when they're in crisis.
Yeah.
Or are considering or facing a breakup. And who they pick to get help from is probably going to make or break the relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
It's probably the single most important decision they're ever going to make for their relationship and for their family.
Yeah, because not everybody's going to be a fit, right?
Well, not just a fit, but the wrong person's going to end the relationship.
Ooh.
The right person's going to show them how to save it.
So let's just talk about people that have come to you that maybe weren't a good fit, and did they try to force working with you or force their partner working with you? Like, what does that look like from your perspective as a therapist?
Well, nobody can get started with me without having a mini consultation with me, no charge consultation.
Right.
And I use that for them to determine if I'm a good fit for them and if they're a good fit for me. And good fit for me, the biggest one is that I know that I believe I'm the best person to help them.
What does that conversation look like typically?
Well, I want to find out first what their presenting situation is. And almost always, women tend to be a lot more open about it than men. Men are really embarrassed to make that call. And usually do it as a last resort. And they'll kind of downplay it and say, we're just looking for some help to fine tune things, to make things a little bit better, improve our communication. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. And so I say really nicely when I hear them out, I say, is anybody talking about leaving the relationship?
Okay. What do they say?
At the time, the answer is yes.
Oh, okay. That sounds like something a man would say.
Yeah. So that's fine. I understand that. And because it's embarrassing for a lot of people to make that first call. Like a lot of people call me saying, gee, I read your website, Save Your Relationship, and you're my last hope. They don't say we're looking for it. They say, you're my last hope. I saw how you helped other people, saw your success stories. I hope to be one of them because I'm out of options.
Oh, wow. That's sad when they get to that point. Yeah. In that situation, have they usually seen someone else, a different therapist, before coming to you?
Yeah, great question. I asked the same question.
Yeah.
And if the answer is yes, I ask how long and what happened. And usually the response is something like, we were like worse off after every session than we were before we started the session. And we both decided, or one of us decided that help wasn't working for us.
Yeah.
So that's the common response. Sometimes they won't say that. They'll say, oh, they were nice and they listened to us. And I'll say, great, what did they teach you? Because you need really good skills to be able to make a relationship work.
Right.
And usually the answer is, what do you mean what they teach us? They just listen to us. So that tells me a lot.
Sure.
And then I tell them, once I hear their presenting problem, first of all, I tell them that this is all fixable with my help. Because I know that it is. So then as long as I know what I need to give them to really make it work for both of them.
Yeah.
And then I tell them, kind of give them an overview of how I'm going to help them. And then that's kind of our starting point.
Wow.
So they have a clear idea between the website and talking to me. They know what they're getting.
Sure.
This is very result-oriented work. Getting out your problems and talking about them doesn't fix anything.
Well, right. It just keeps your eye on the problem, not eye on the solution.
Right. See, I was trained in graduate school that understanding insight creates change.
Well,
It
what does that
doesn't
mean?
change. Well, if you understand why you've got the problem, then somehow magically it's going to get fixed.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah,
But insight doesn't create change. Change creates change.
yeah.
If you understand why you've got the problem, you keep creating the same things that cause the problem,
Hmm.
keep creating the same bad situation.
Well, I know we've kind of highlighted this before in some other episodes, but I think that so many people get caught up in wanting to be right and
Sure.
plead their case constantly instead of like, okay, let's address like how we can get past that, because you're gonna spin your wheels constantly going in the same direction over and over and over again. You until you're blue in the face talking about the same thing. What you got to do is how do you come to a middle ground where you can communicate in a healthy way, move past the issue if that's what you really want.
Right. So what I tell them and what I deliver on is that by the end of the first session, we'll have skills to make things dramatically better.
Yeah.
My top priority is to get them out of crisis and then help them build from there.
Out of all our conversations, I know that about you. And I can speak from experience from my previous life and doing couples counseling that in most of those sessions, very few times we walked away feeling better because it was like he said, she said, you know, he said this, he go blah, blah, blah. Then I said this, blah, 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 blah. And it was more of like the therapist was a referee instead of trying to get to like, okay, what's done is done. Let's move past it. And how do we work together moving forward? So I think that your approach is so much healthier and better than the referee type of approach.
Well, I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I mean, my biggest wake-up call, as I've told you before, is that my first wife left me. And before she left me, we had a lot of marriage counseling. And we had the same experience, my clients have with other therapists, that we usually have a session more upset at each other than we did before. No tools. And that was a contributing factor to that relationship ending.
I can imagine like you probably having like an out of body experience. Like, what the hell's going on? I'm a marriage counselor and I'm going through this. This therapist's not helping me. And then, an unfortunate thing happened and, she left. And that's just in your eyes today is so preventable by the skill sets that you have that you use with your clients.
Right. Well, that, as I said before, that was my turning point.
Yeah.
I realized I didn't have the personal skills and the professional skills to save a relationship and make it work. I wasn't taught that in graduate school. And I spent a long time learning what it takes to actually make a relationship work and thrive. That's what I practiced in my 29-year-old relationship. And we just had our anniversary, and that's
happy anniversary.
Thank you. And that's what I teach my clients.
Yeah. Do you think that the way that therapists are being taught now, do you think that has changed or is it still the same?
I only know from my clients' feedback.
Yeah.
Because the current feedback I'm getting is the same feedback I got 25 years ago.
That's crazy.
Not learning skills. They're leaving the sessions more upset than they were before. Yeah, that's disappointing.
Very, like nothing's changed for your modalities and how you help people move through their relationships in your schooling. That's just crazy. I mean, that's not good. So you should go be a professor and teach some of these therapists how they should be doing things. Yeah, you should offer a class. You should offer some, you've got the knowledge and the background and the expertise.
I do.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So when these people are coming to you with you're like their last hope, do you ever like try to understand some of like what the therapy that they've gone through prior, like before you get into a session with them? Because you kind of have to undo things, right? A little bit.
Well, I'll ask, again, like, what were you taught? And if they're taught anything, what they were taught. And so if they're taught something, usually they have to undo it.
Right.
Usually had a therapist listen to them if they went to therapy before. I kind of know like right away, hearing their patterns, what I need to teach them first.
Yeah.
And often the biggest thing, well, first of all, I have to do, I can help couples, I help relationships a lot faster, as I've said before, working individually
Right.
and not coupled. Because people come to couples counseling with the wrong mindset. And like you said, you talked about using therapists as a referee. That's the
Right.
mindset they have.
You're like the
I want
judge and jury.
to be heard by the professional and have them tell you what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
They're not coming to do their own work usually.
Yeah.
So if they insist on working me together, which I'm willing to do, I just give them the warning that you heard me say before, that whatever you say to me individually, you're in a safe environment and it's confidential. Whatever you say in a couple session can and will be used against you by your partner.
Right.
It is not a safe environment. You can't just speak your mind and let it fly.
Right.
They're not going to have amnesia for what you said.
Very true. Very
I mean, it
true.
sounds obvious, but most people are on their worst behavior in a couple session.
Trying to think back how I was. I think I was just so like adamant to prove my point, like I wanted to be validated, right?
Right.
And that's where, things did start coming out that probably were unnecessary and hurtful. I remember one time we were just screaming at each other, just screaming at the top of our lungs like it was like World War III, and I ended up storming out. Like it was not a good situation, but obviously I've grown since then, and I'm with somebody new. But I do remember that in those couples sessions, it was like I was more focused on pleading my case and getting validation. And the therapist at the time, God bless her heart, but I don't think that she was trying to help mitigate us to a place where we could get past the issues. Does that make sense?
Sure. And there's tools you need to be able to fix the issues, because most couples have a lot of unresolved issues.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the process is critical. Like we have this illusion that if we just talk things out when we're upset, that they'll make things better.
Yeah.
Well, when you're doing that with your partner, it almost always makes things worse.
Oh yeah.
Because they feel like they're being attacked, and then they defend themselves, or they withdraw, or they attack back. So the real issue never gets addressed.
Yeah.
So I teach people like to be masters of timing.
Mm.
The only timing that works to talk things out is when you're both in positive emotion.
Yeah. It takes a tremendous amount of self-control, no?
That it takes the right skills.
Yeah.
I teach people both the skills and how to do them consistently. And I give them safe ways to get out their feelings on their own, not direct at their partners. They're not holding the feelings, not imploding or exploding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That can be hard.
Yes. It's doable.
It is doable, yeah. But I'm just saying, like someone like myself, I mean, I'm much more in control now, but just being such a strong personality, and like, if I have something to say, I'm gonna say it, and I've obviously learned to control myself now, but back then it was impossible. I didn't have any self-control.
A lot of people don't, and that's part of my job, to give them the skills to do that.
Yeah. And I think I've asked this before, but I want to highlight it again. Just because they don't get it right the first time doesn't mean that they can't get it right the second or third time, right?
Oh, that's a great question. Are you talking about in the same relationship or with somebody else? Let's
do it in the same relationship and with somebody else. Let's talk about both the scenarios.
So I worked with this couple, and they said initially that I was their last resort. And they said the last therapist they work with, not only were things worse after each session, but the therapist finally said, well, maybe you guys just aren't right for each other.
Ooh. Whoa.
And luckily, rather than taking that input, got them mad.
Yeah, that would get me mad too.
Because they loved each other deeply.
Yeah.
So they said, do you tell people that? I said, no, I don't. It's my job is to show you how to make the relationship fully work for both of you. This is my responsibility.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you how to do that. And here's how. And I laid out what I was going to teach them based on what they told me. And they're thriving.
That's amazing. If any therapist ever said that to me, I'd probably like go crazy. Like, how dare you? I came here for you to help me, and you're telling me we're not right for each other. Like, that should be, I think that's unethical.
Well, by my standards, it is. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the other scenario where in a different relationship.
So all of us have an unresolved past. And a lot of people superimpose their unresolved issues from their past, their past relationships onto their current relationship.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
So I give them the tools, and I see that happening, to be able to go, that was then, now is now. You're with a different person.
Yeah.
You made a good pick this time. Again, I'm a relationship saver. I'm going to show people how to make it work. You know, before my turning point, that I, like most therapists, I believe, are by accident relationship enders.
Yeah. I can see that. And I mean, and obviously you've done a great job because your testimonials speak for themselves. I think that people are lucky if they find you, if they're at that point in their relationship and they don't want to lose that person. And so,
Yeah.
And that's why it's important for them to find the right therapist, the right help for their relationship.
Absolutely. And often, at times my clients are my teachers.
Yeah.
Years ago, before COVID, that I had a client that said, we're moving. We really want to keep working with you. Can we do that?
Yeah.
And they said, well, I was trained that I can only help people in person, so I can and they guide you how to pick somebody. And they go, no, not acceptable. You're the only one that's ever helped us. We want to keep working with you.
Yeah.
You're just talking to us. It's, phone is fine.
Okay.
So that was before Zoom. So
yeah.
so
talk to people around the world.
So yeah. So I said, I said, I'm willing to try, but so I don't think I'm helping you as good as I did in person. Then I'm going to have to refer you out.
Okay.
And they were 100% right. I was equally as effective by phone,
sure,
as I was in person. There was like no difference in the benefits and the results.
Sure. So, I mean, yeah. Did you work with both of them at the same time or individually?
Well, I know that much then, so I was still working with them together.
Okay.
Now it would be quicker if I'd worked with them individually.
I gotcha.
It's a slower process working with a couple.
Yeah. So what are some things, so if somebody's out there listening, and like, what are some questions that they should ask themselves when they pick someone to work with? Obviously, we want them to call you, book a call with you, and work with you, right? Because you are the resident relationship wizard, saver, fixer, survivor, rehabilitator, all those great things. But if they're just listening and they're not comfortable to make that call yet, and they have been looking for someone, or they currently have someone, what are some things that they should be asking themselves about the person they're working with if they're not seeing results?
Okay. So first of all, learn my lesson and pick the best person you can find, regardless of where they're located, because really virtual is as effective with the right therapist as it is in person.
Yeah, for sure.
And actually, even though I give the option to my clients to do WhatsApp video, to do Zoom, to do FaceTime, most of them prefer phone, which I'm fine it's equal results.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So that's one piece. Another piece is, don't just make an appointment because you got referred to somebody. Call them up and interview them.
Yeah.
And not only see how it feels to talk to them, but ask them how they work.
Yeah, I like that.
If you get like a general answer, well, like everything, I kind of hear your problem and then I'll give you some ideas what to do. It's too general.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like I answer that question to people whether they ask it or not. I'll say, here's what I do. In the first session, I'm going to find out toward the beginning from each of you where things are and where you want things to be.
Right.
Then I'm going to give you a step-by-step plan of what it's going to take. I need to give you to get those results. And then before the session's over, I'm going to give you at least one skill you can use right away to start making things better. It's very concrete.
Yeah, and you know what? That's like credibility and transparency of like how you operate as a therapist, which I think is huge. Because if you were reaching out to someone to help, like to really help you with a turning point in your life that could be life changing, right? If they're not able to answer that question concrete for you, I feel like you should be very hesitant to work with that person.
Yes, absolutely. I would also look at their website and look at their stories, with their testimonials.
Yeah.
What former clients have said about them.
Okay.
If they're really good, they're going to have really strong testimonials.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's another piece.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Yeah, that's good. Is there any more?
Yeah, just in more depth about what kinds of skills they teach.
Yeah. I mean, do you think it's like their success rate and how, I mean, is that something that you and your industry can kind of track your success rate in helping people?
Yeah, I'm occasionally asked that question.
Okay.
The answer is people that take what I teach them and do it consistently get great results. People that don't. It's kind of black and white.
For sure.
I've done it long enough. I'm going to give them things I know are going to work for them if they do them.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm going to give them the skills to follow through. Most people don't know how to follow through.
Mm.
And that's part of my job.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's summarize really quick. So today we really focused on how to pick the right help for someone's relationship. And I think you highlighted some very key things, just what they're going to teach them, transparency, testimonials, and success rate. I think that these are like very important things. But obviously, if you guys want to get the best help out there, you got to get in contact with Fred. Fred, tell people where they can find you and connect with you and get that call with you, that free call.
So I've got room for 4 more people before my practice is full. So I'm looking for 4 more people.
Okay.
And so there's still that opening. And I do offer that free initial call. It's about 15 minutes. And you can book that by going to bookwithfredt.com and scheduling that.
Excellent. And we will put that link in the show description, wherever you are finding this episode, this podcast, this TV show, or on YouTube. That link will be there. So don't hesitate to book that free call with Fred. Fred, as always, thank you for sharing your insight, your wisdom, and your willingness to want to fix, repair, and save relationships. Any last words before we say goodbye?
Sure. If you want to see my testimonials, I'm telling you should be checking that out with anybody, is go to saveyourrelationship.com. That's my website.
Excellent. And that link will be in the show notes as well, you guys. So as always, thank you so much for joining us today. We will be back next Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you want to reach out to Fred, he is here every other Monday, but his links will be in the show description. Don't hesitate to reach out if you are needing help saving your relationship. All right, you guys, we'll see you next week.
If you are struggling in your relationship or facing a breakup, Fred Talisman can help you. Fred is one of the top marriage counselors and top relationship coaches in the world. For over 25 years, he's helped thousands of his clients who are on the verge of losing their relationship to stop their breakup, even if they feared it was beyond saving, and even if they were the only one who wants to save it. Whatever you're facing in your relationship, he can help you to fix, including infidelity, broken trust, fighting and arguing, not feeling heard and understood, lack of communication and lack of respect, verbal abuse, feeling like you're walking on eggshells, and feeling judged and criticized. Can Fred help you save your relationship and help you to keep your family together? Probably. The best way to know if he can help you is for you to have a no-cost conversation with him. Call or text Fred now to spend some time talking to him. Once he hears about your situation, he can tell you how he can help you. You can call or text him now at 310-429-3658 or email him at fred@saveyourrelationship.com. Everyone that Fred helped to repair their relationship had one thing in common. They each had that first conversation with him. To check out his success stories, go to saveyourrelationship.com.